And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Happy Monday to you. Welcome to a new week here, Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com. My name is BJ Rains, and we got John Mallory there in the RowPaint.com studios in downtown Boise, the world headquarters of 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, The Ticket. And Johnny, we got a lot to discuss. Looking back on that game Saturday night, as well as your first place Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, that's great, man. Thank you. Fun weekend for some of the teams that I root for sure. Team I cover, Boise State, a good weekend for them and their fan base as well. And I think anytime you go to Colorado Springs in the Mountain West and beat an Air Force team that, several games over 500, that's a good notch on the belt. To enjoy the journey during a season, right? And nice win for Boise State. Now they get a couple of home games and can really see where this season is going to take them. Everything's pretty much still on the table, BJ. Shocking as that is to say, here we are in late November, as we begin, and Boise State's still right in the mix.
And I believe your award-winning post-game show is called Bronco Game Night. Is that correct?
Yeah, Bronco Game Night.
I appreciate you guys always for posting that online. I believe that's Mike Prater that does that because early Sunday morning as I was driving back to the Denver airport from Colorado Springs, timed out perfectly. The length of your show about got me from Colorado Springs to the airport. And you were already you guys went there again. I mean, is it time to officially go there again? Back to the New Year's Six conversation?
Well, I think if Boise State wins out, and yes, I do. If Boise State wins out, I know there's still so many more obstacles to overcome for this football team this season, BJ. But if they do, I think it's probably going to be a conversation between Boise State and whichever team wins the American. Right now, Tulane is playing really good football, as is Cincinnati. They're both ranked. Central Florida lost a game, but they're still in the mix. Remember, there's no divisions in the American. They take the top two teams to play it out. And if Boise State gets in a conversation where if they have two losses and then they're with, say, a 2 or maybe luckily a 3-loss American champion, maybe Boise State's in play there. Stuff still needs to happen, but we got a whole second half of football left. And Boise State, heck yeah, there's a path for it. Not saying it's a guarantee. They don't control their own destiny, but I don't think they did back in 2014 either when they were a 2-loss team that got to play in a New Year's Six Bowl.
Yeah, they did get lucky that year because Marshall was their chief competition. There wasn't a lot of obvious teams there that year. And I think that UTEP loss, unfortunately, is going to be really hard for them to overcome. I mean, they're going to have to be clear and above the other teams if you're going to look at the UTEP loss and forget about that. But maybe they say, hey, it's a new coordinator, new quarterback, new team, and maybe that factors into it. Jordan said that he enjoyed calling into Bronco Game Night, hyped up. I heard Jordan call in. I know you guys appreciate hearing from Jordan on Bronco Game Night. It's Keaton says, we're talking New Year's Six. Now it feels like a Boise State football season. Cincinnati seems like they have it in the bag pending a championship loss. Jordan says, honestly, keep my expectations. LA Bowl, just win the bowl after 5 years. Anything else would be a gift. What Dayton says Coastal Carolina, Cincinnati, Tulane, the only teams that have one loss this season. It's crazy. But Clint brings us back to that Air Force game. Being shut out in the second half is not ideal. However, a great defensive game all night long. And the New Year's Six is fine. It's crazy to talk about, but there's still a lot that has to happen. But they are kind of I think that was the hardest game left on their schedule. I mean, BYU got crushed by Liberty. I mean, they're going to be favored in all 5 of these games. And maybe at Wyoming is one small opportunity to slip up just because Wyoming's playing pretty well. And the way it's looking, though, Johnny, is that game is going to maybe decide the division. Because Wyoming's only got 1 division loss. So if Boise State loses to them and then the tiebreaker would go to Wyoming, you could be 9-3 and lose out by a tiebreaker to Wyoming. So that Wyoming game is going to maybe be the game that decides the division here. That's going to be a huge
Wyoming's
game.
kind of taken that step, the Fighting Andrew Peasley's BJ, and
I need
kind
to
of
drop that in there.
Being that other team that can
Grand Oregon, baby.
Yeah, you've watched him play in high school, good friends with his dad. They're really excited over there for Andrew Peasley leaving Utah State and then getting the opportunity to play and beat his former team. You see a lot in college football now, but backing up a little bit, BJ, to the offense, like you mentioned, and the lack of productivity in the second half, the lack of productivity in the red zone. Yep. And that's now kind of been a thing under Coach Avalos because we've seen it with multiple coordinators. We've seen it with multiple quarterbacks, how this offense struggles in the red zone. I might be one of the only ones out there, but I'm going to give this offense a pass in the red zone versus Air Force. You did not have George Halani, and you didn't have Ashton Genty in the second half. And for whatever the reason was, they stuck with, I think, the original game plan, which wasn't going to have Talon run as much as maybe Air Force thought he would. I don't know. He only ran 5 times, and the highlight was the final run of the game he had that pretty much put the dagger in Air Force's heart, BJ. But taking away such valuable weapons, for whatever reason, this receiving core hasn't or isn't ready yet to step up and tell the running backs, hey, we got this over here. You can throw to us today. We're going to make plays for you. We haven't seen that yet. So without those players, with those type of injuries, and it would be nice if we could talk all week about, hey, Halani might not play this week. It's funny. We just don't have any of these stories, BJ, and all of a sudden the game starts and us in the media are like, wait, what? Okay. All right. But without all that stuff, like I was saying, to get there in a long way, BJ, I'm going to give the offense a pass for the red zone woes, at least against Air Force, because they didn't have their backs.
I am going to say that I heard it was a hamstring for Halani, which is never good for a soft tissue injury. Hurt
again on a bye week. I know there's a lot of questions. We won't have answers from the coaching staff. That's their policy, and they're sticking to it, obviously, on this. But here's another season, BJ, that it looks like, Halani's not 100%. And did the injury happen in the bye week during a practice? Did you get fired on your day off, to steal like a reference from Friday, the movie? Like, it's just odd that you would see that type of injury in a bye week. Maybe it happened the week before, BJ. Again, a lot of questions here with this football team, but still in total command of the Mountain West, and the defense, BJ, really playing at a historical level.
And then I also heard that it was concussion-like symptoms for Ashton Genty. So we'll have to see on Ashton Genty, but he missed the second half, from what I'm told, due to concussion symptoms, and whether or not he's back, we'll have to see. But you feel like you could probably beat Colorado State, right? If you had to go Noah and Crow, and if you know that from the start. But obviously not ideal.
Backs, that's I would like to think you're still favored, and you're still going to beat Colorado State. They have a whole bunch of problems going on, sadly, with that program this year. Norvell's having a hard time getting that thing kick-started, BJ. But, if you're going with Noah and Crow, it'll shake things up, no question. So that's what your sources are telling you, BJ?
Yes, hamstring for Halani, concussion symptoms for Genty, and no word on either of them will be back this week. I believe George wanted to play, but the coaches, I think, maybe just decided it was smart to hold off. So hopefully you at least get George back against Colorado State. We'll see. It's Keaton says, do other schools keep their media and fans in the dark regarding injuries like BSU does? I don't think I've seen anything like it. That's college football for you.
Most teams do.
That's how it is. College football, just they're very That's why we haven't talked to Taylor Green yet.
Not once.
I saw the Boise State post-game video, and he was on there doing something walking off the field, and I heard him say something. I'm like, oh, that's what his voice sounds like.
I still haven't heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him.
Was that during the Avalos Calhoun?
That was, that was interesting. I didn't see that live, so we didn't ask Andy about it. That was kind of a quick blow-by both coaches, so I don't really – maybe that's a question.
Chances he addresses it today in this presser?
Are you going to ask him?
No, you're not going to get an answer. Anyway.
Speaking of which, I got some highlights here, Johnny. I want to just kind of talk through this game as we watch some highlights of what we saw. Awesome atmosphere there at the academy with the running of the cadets to get their seats. You had a really cool flyover as well. I mean, it was a festive atmosphere at the academy on Saturday night. Crowd wasn't as big as I thought it would be, Johnny. I was a little surprised the crowd wasn't huge. Here's the flyover, 4 F-16 jets. That was awesome, and they literally do that like 30 seconds before kickoff, so both teams were out there. How about the start by Boise State's defense, Johnny? -1 yard in the first quarter for Air Force. They couldn't get anything going.
BJ, this rushing defense is at a historical level, just like this defense playing at a historic level, BJ. 112 yards they're giving up this season, number 1 in the Mountain West, number 22 in the nation. And when you hold Air Force, it's different. Holding Air Force to $170 on the ground, BJ, that's like holding a Mike Leach air raid to 220 yards passing, right? I mean, that was a terrific effort for this defense, and it continues to get better. And, hey, Air Force is going to run the football better than any other team left on Boise State's schedule. Remember that. What this defense has in front of it, as far as just statistical data and how good it can be, it's it's long and it's distinguished, BJ. This defense can put up some very, very remarkable numbers this season. They're on pace to do so.
Jonah Dalmas there with another field goal. He was our Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. Afterwards, we'll talk about Jonah Dalmas here in a minute. But how about Eric McAllister, the freshman coming in, making a nice catch there on a long pass from Taylor Green. Here's Dalmas again. By the way, they did change a stat correction. Taylor Green got 20 extra yards passing at it on. A Tyler Crow reception that was 26 yards was only credited as 6 initially. So 227 yards is Taylor Green's final numbers. And Johnny, he would have had more. I think we're going to show the play in a minute, if not for the pick where the guy hit Steph Cobbs at the perfect time. I mean, he almost had 250 passing yards for Taylor Green. I thought throwing the ball, this was his best game by far.
I thought he did a good job throwing the ball, too. And I like this zip on his ball. I know everybody's a quarterback coach in Bronco Nation, and they all want to fix how Taylor Green throws the football. But I thought he had good zip. And, again, this is a process. This kid is fresh, dirt cutter.
Here's the play right here for the pick.
There you go. Yeah, if he gets that back. But, no, I thought Taylor Green developed well as a passer. Let's not put too much on this kid. And you got out of there with a win and control the Mountain West.
Air Force really couldn't get going at all. They finally got going in the second half. They really didn't do much of anything to start the game. As I said, no first downs. I believe -1 yard in the first quarter. It really took them a while to get going. Air Force finally did score here. They got into the end zone the second time there in the fourth quarter. You're thinking, okay, we got a ball game here. Boise State was struggling to move the ball in the second half, didn't score. And then you get to, well, by the way, really cool, Johnny. If you've never been down there, anybody needs to get down there with all the cadets in the stands. It was a really cool. It was a really cool thing to be at. But Boise State there trying to move the ball. They can't convert on third down. They have to punt the ball away. You think you've got the stop here. You think you're getting the ball back. Great stop on third down. They're fired up. And then you have the situation with the number 7s, which we're going to get into. There's Zeke Noah right there at linebacker. And then there's Latrell Caples back to receive the punt. Obviously, that was not a good thing, Johnny, and that led to Air Force keeping the ball. And I don't know about you, but I thought for sure Air Force was going to score here, man. They were moving the ball down the field at will with that second chance.
I hate that rule. Am I the only one that's going to say that, too? Who cares if there's 2 number 7s? Figure it out. There's names on the back of the jerseys. It's not the worst thing in the world. It should not lose you a game. That's one of those things I hope the competition committee and the NCAA takes a look at, because there's more double numbers now than ever in college football. Let's find a way not to destroy a team if that has to happen.
Taylon Green seals the game with this huge third down run. He picks up 15 yards, I believe, on third down. They would have had to punt the ball back with a minute to go. But if you're the winning team, the best play in football, then kneel down there. But Boise State wins at 19-14 again, and Johnny just, it was not looking great there for a while, but they made the plays when they wanted to, and this is pretty cool at the end of the game. We'll just listen in for a second to third verse. Both teams, if you've never been a part of that, both teams, the visiting team comes in out of respect, stands there during their traditional song at the end of the game, and so it was a pretty cool moment there after the game. But, Johnny, Boise State made the plays when they had to, man. The big stop on fourth down, Zeke Noah, and then Taylon Green getting 15 yards. You said he didn't run much, but he ran when he had to, got the first down there, and Boise State escapes with a huge win.
And control the Mountain West, right? I mean, that just wasn't a huge win because you beat Air Force, a team that, has given you some trouble in the past decade, but now you really control your own destiny as far as the Mountain West goes. You're the best team in the Mountain West at this point. You got to finish the job. Obviously, it's a week-to-week thing. If you blow a game against Colorado State next week, I mean, that's going to be something people will be talking about for a long time, right? I mean, the situation, BJ, is set up for a division championship, just winning on your own terms. If you're going to lose it, well, then lose it to Wyoming. Don't lose it to Colorado State, if you hear what I'm saying, man. And the LA Bowl, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, right? I mean, Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. I know it's not the New Year's Six. Boise State's never been to this bowl. It's probably located, it's the nicest stadium in the country from what I've heard so far. So for this fan base to have maybe that opportunity during the holidays to get down there and experience a Bronco game against a Pac-12 opponent in that stadium, I think that would cap off a pretty darn good season. And I think from Jeremiah Dickey all the way down, people would look at this thing and say, okay, Boise State football's trending in the right direction. And there's going to be hype for next year and where this program's headed. So that not just beating Air Force, but what is now still on the table. And a couple other ingredients and meals are getting onto this table too now. The New Year's Six conversation's legit, I think, again. So it's going to be an interesting, 5 games left on the schedule, BJ?
Yeah, no, should be. I think at this point, a Mountain West championship and an LA Bowl would be good enough for this season, for this team. I mean, some fans might not say that's good enough. They have expectations of every year, New Year's Six, undefeated. But this year, when you put it into context, you were 2-2. You had to fire your offensive coordinator, your quarterback, 4-year starter transfers. You had one of the worst losses in program history to UTEP, where you didn't even get 100 yards rushing or passing. If you look back 3 months later and all of a sudden you're winning the Mountain West, and Craig Thompson in his final year as commissioner is handing Andy Avalos the trophy on a Saturday, late afternoon, at Albertson Stadium, I think there's no way you can't take that as a step forward, especially given the 7-5 last year and what happened in year one of Andy Avalos. So we'll see. I do want to hear from Zeke Noah here in just a second, but first want to tell you about the Blue and Orange Store. Check them out, theblueandorangestore.com. Free shipping, any order over $40. You just go to theblueandorangestore.com. If you're in the Boise area, you can check them out at the Boise Town Square Mall there on the second floor next to Pro Image. Hey, looking for a new job? How about becoming a truck driver? Transcompservice.com is where you need to go. I'm talking everything from the big rig on your screen to the Amazon truck you see in your neighborhood. They can help you get all the permits and everything you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. Check them out, Transportation Compliance Service at transcompservice.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop ridleys.com. 13 Idaho locations. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery. Next time you're heading to the grocery store, head to Ridley's Family Markets. Find a location near you at shopridleys.com. United Commercial Insurance, they make business insurance easy. Check them out, unitedcommercialinsurance.com. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. So if you're looking to support a local business, even if you're not in the area, they can help you out. Check them out, unitedcommercialinsurance.com. And of course, Boise Dentistry Co. That's my dentist, Dr. Minor. Meinert on the screen there. The full Reigns family uses Dr. Meinert. We couldn't be happier. You should make the switch as well. Dr. Meinert and his staff. It's a full family dentistry, professional staff, great equipment. It's easy for the kids to get all the games and stuff for them to play while you're there. So check them out. Locations from Caldwell to Mountain Home, everywhere in between. BoiseDentistryCo.com. We got some comments coming in here, Johnny. Is Liberty eligible for the independent spot? Or when they're an independent? I don't think they're eligible for the group of 5 spot.
No, independents are not eligible for the group of 5 position. I was under the impression of because Notre Dame and BYU are not in. Look, if I wouldn't be worried for Liberty if I was a Boise State fan. I would hope to do what Liberty did to BYU at home, certainly in a couple of weeks.
Chris V says Ty Jones shut down Air Force first few drives all by himself. Yeah, he played really well. Nick Wade saying about the handshake. Calhoun was briefly wishing Avalos good luck in the CFP, is what he said there after the game, according to Nick Wade. I want to talk about that those 7. I mean, that could have lost them the game, Johnny. It's not something you won the game, so it's kind of easy to brush over. But 2 number 7s on the field. You may not like the rule, but that cannot happen. That cannot happen in the fourth quarter of a 1-score game for a coaching staff to not realize that 2 number 7s were on the field at the same time, and that nearly cost them a game. They nearly lost a game and lost a chance at the New Year's Six, the Mountain West Championship, whatever, because they had 2 number 7s on the field. That was coaching malpractice. That cannot happen. And making it worse, Johnny, is what you're going to hear here from Zeke Noah. They actually practiced all week like that. They practiced all week with 2 number 7s, and nobody realized it. But they made the play when they had to on 4th down. So here's Zeke Noah briefly talking about that situation and then how they locked down on D after that to get the stop.
Yeah, we were in the safe punt return just to watch for the fake. We didn't catch the 2 7s on the field. Yeah, we didn't catch the 2 7s on the field. We didn't notice that as far as our team, the coaches and the players. So that was definitely a mistake that we had to fix next time.
Did you practice it like that all week?
We did actually practice it like that. I mean, nobody really brought it to our attention at the time, and yeah.
What's that like? You think it's your ball, and all of a sudden the ref's like, no, it's first down for them, and all of a sudden you look up and you thought you had the big stop, and now you got to do it again.
Yeah, our defense, what we're taught every day is stay in the fight. None of us were complaining. And what happened. So, I mean, like I said, we always got to stay in the fight on the defensive side. Whatever happens, just trying to stay in, because part of that was something that we could control, and we didn't make a mistake on that. So, I mean, Coach D always says stay in the fight. So.
And then you had a big pass breakup on 4th down to kind of seal the win. I mean, what did you see on that play?
Yeah, it was huge, man. They were driving on us, but we always talk about 3 or nothing in the red zone, and they were entering that zone for us, and they was fortunate on the calls they had with the holding and for them to be back a little bit. So, like I said, we were ready for them to pass because it was 4th and long. They had to get that first in order for them to be able to continue the drive. So, for us backers, we knew we had to drop, and our drops, and I mean, that's what happened. So.
And that is a key point to remember, too, Johnny. There was a holding penalty. They actually completed, the pass for a first down on 4th down. Then there was a holding penalty, which pushed them back, and then that made them have to throw the ball there on 4th and 13. I know you don't like the rule.
But I get what you're saying, yeah. I do think it's a stupid rule, but it's a rule, and nobody even considered it. No one even thought about it. I mean, that's kind of the era of college football, too, with numbers. Like, it's just people are number 0 now. There's like 2 number 0s on a team now. Double zeros coming, I'm sure. And it's just they kind of got lost in that stupid numerical shuffle. But it is something if it would have costed them. Luckily, I will say this: that holding penalty that the referees called was clear, present, and obvious. Scott Matlock got tackled on that play. So I was happy that the officials were like, hey, we're not going to call that in this moment. No, call a foul, and they did that. But you're right, Air Force was, I think, inside the 10-yard line, BJ, with their new set of downs, and they probably would have stole that game. And that would have been all this town in Idaho Sports Talk and BNN would have talked about all week. I'm glad that they're not saying, oh, the season was destroyed by 2 number 7s on the field, but people would be saying that and dodged a major bullet there. And I'm going to guess, though, that that's never going to happen again to this team. If it does, holy shnikes, man. But I'm going to guess that they're going to dot their I's and cross their T's when it comes to, numerical musical chairs moving forward, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's a couple things now. I mean, you think last year they had a 4th down play against Air Force. They only had 10 players on the field. Now you have, 2 players with the same number on the field. I mean, there's some pretty basic coaching things that are popping up here that I think need to be addressed moving forward. But, Andy Avalos is a young coach, and mistakes happen. As Jordan said, that Matt Boucher said on Twitter, we all make mistakes in our jobs. Just move forward and get better. And, yeah, I agree with you that it's probably not going to happen again. Trevor says he'll never complain about a W and wanting style points again. A win, he's a staunchy win is a win guy now after what we're seeing this season. And at this point, right, you don't really need style points. I guess
some years you just take those. Some years you realize, hey, like maybe at some point, maybe as a parent, if your son or daughter is bringing home B pluses and B pluses and B pluses, some years they bring home A's, some years it's B pluses. Like, how many times do I want to, keep harping, expecting this kid to bring home an A+ 2010, 2011 Boise State grade when I look at this team and like, hey, they might not be capable of that level, but let's at the level they're at, win games, style points shouldn't matter. And at the end of the year, grab yourself another trophy. And I like what you said about, hey, make Craig Thompson's last Mountain West moment at Albertson Stadium on the stage, on the blue, in front of a stormed field, celebrating. That would be a cool thing there. And another thing, maybe you talked about this before, maybe you didn't, BJ, but for Zeke to say they practiced that all week tells me that Latrell Caples was returning punts all week. Halani is the punt returner typically with this team. So I guess that meant Halani had been hurt all week, and they had already made that move, like regardless if George plays in this game or not, he's not going to return punts. Did you read into that at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. And our friend Jordan K got a stiff next question when he asked Andy Avalos after the game when they knew George wouldn't play. It was
Dude, Jordan K leads the league this year in next questions, man. And he also leads the league, the Keith Bonaparte deal. I won't even say that, but that was fun too. I like his reporting. He does a good job. Jordan's a good friend of mine. And I love it, man. Keep it up, Jordan.
I wonder if I have that clip from Bonafide. I think I do, actually.
Dude, it's so good, man. If you could play that.
I'll have it ready for next week. But yeah, he said that's not a great that's not a great question, but I'll answer it anyway, I think was what he said.
Is that what he said? Okay.
Something about it wasn't a good question, I think was what
that's not a very good question, but I'll answer it anyway. Like he said that. I love Jordan. I love KV. That was a fun moment.
Hey, Dayton Robinson's asking about the tiebreakers. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but what are the Mountain West tiebreakers if 2 teams are tied for the same conference record? If you're talking about for the division, it's head-to-head. Head-to-head. Yeah. So if Boise State and Wyoming both finished 7-1 in conference, who won the game? Boise State, Wyoming. And whoever won it is the division champ. If you're talking about to host the Mountain West Championship with the team on the other side, if it's the same conference record, it also goes to head-to-head. And then if you didn't play that team, then there goes down the line into like a conference or divisional record, I think is in there. And then I think it's rankings and computer rankings and things like that. But first tiebreaker is always head-to-head in the way the Mountain West is doing it this year. We only got about 2 minutes left, Johnny. Jonah Dalmas, 4 field goals. He's now done that 5 times in his career, I believe, 4 or 5 times with 4 field goals in a game. He set the school record last year with 26 made field goals, led the nation. And he's right on pace again, to be right back there again, nearly maybe breaking that record again. So we said coming into the year, we don't want to see as much of Jonah Dalmas. We're still seeing him plenty. He missed those first 2 in the Oregon State game to start the season, and he's made 14 in a row since. Jonah Dalmas is on fire right now, and he maybe single-handedly won them that game because even if he misses one of those, Air Force doesn't need a touchdown at the end of the game. They're only down by 2, and they kick a field goal and win the game on 4th down. So Jonah Dalmas was our Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. He was huge.
I expect him to be the Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week. When that comes out, what's that later today, BJ? That come out on Mondays?
It does, and also before somebody asked about the BYU game time, that will be out today as well.
Okay, nice. So a couple of little factoids there. Jordan, I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm still on Jordan K here. Jonah Dalmas, he's not only a security blanket, but he's a weapon. You get to a certain level on the field, and I think Boise State has an advantage over most teams they play because most teams they play don't have that type of weapon at kicker. Boise State doesn't have to go as far as most teams in this conference to get into makeable field goal range. My confidence for that kid is off the charts. I have as much confidence in Jonah Dalmas nailing a field goal as I do some NFL kickers in that situation. He nails, and he's going to have a terrific career kicking the football. I think he's going to make a lot of money kicking a football, and Boise State, I mean, literally needed every one of his kicks, man, to secure that victory. And now he's got 2 straight home games, comfortable atmosphere, nothing questionable with the altitude that might shake up his game in Colorado Springs. And these next 2 games, BJ, I'm thinking massive attendance. I know it's Colorado State, but I think it's another opportunity for this town to show this team, hey, we got your back. And BYU, that speaks for itself. This is going to be a fun next couple of weeks. Your subscribers, I know they're going to be juiced. Our listeners are going to be pumped up. We got ourselves a nice, fun football season in Boise, Idaho to follow. Heck, other teams in this state are playing well. College of Idaho, my Vandals having good years. So it's a fun football season in the fall for folks in Idaho and Boise in particular.
I should know better than with 1 minute left to ask Johnny a question. He talks for 3 minutes and puts us over the time here. So, JP, if you're listening, it's Johnny's fault, not mine.
That was 3 minutes?
You were pushed it a little bit there. It's all right. We appreciate the insight, but we're supposed to keep it under 30 minutes here, and you made
BJ, now you're going on a minute.
All right, well, listening 3 to 6 today, Idaho Sports Talk. We'll be listening with Johnny, Prater, JP, Bob, the whole crew there. All week we'll be listening 3 to 6 as you guys get ready for that Colorado State game on Saturday. We'll see you down there for the Andy Avalos presser, 1 o'clock, Johnny. Appreciate your time today, man.
Take care. See you down there.
Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com. We'll get Andy Avalos, the coordinators, up on YouTube channel later this afternoon. Have a great day. Jay Tuss and I will be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.